Every time ChatGPT seems to remember a document you uploaded, something weird is happening behind the scenes. It's not searching for words, it's searching for meaning, converted into thousands of numbers. That trick is powered by a vector database, and it's quietly become one of the most important pieces of modern AI infrastructure. So let's break down what a vector database actually is, why traditional databases couldn't do this job, and how it all works under the hood. Here's the thing. Traditional databases are brilliant at exact matches. Find the user with ID 42. Find every order placed in March. SQL handles that instantly, but ask a database to find documents that are similar in meaning to a sentence, and it falls flat. The word doctor and the word physician mean almost the same thing, but to a normal database, they're just two unrelated strings. That gap, the gap between matching text and matching meaning, is the whole reason vector databases exist. To search by meaning, we first need to turn meaning into something a computer can compare. That something is a list of numbers called an embedding. An embedding model reads a piece of text and outputs a long array of floats. Maybe 384, maybe 1536 numbers long. Each number captures some hidden feature of the meaning. The magic is that texts with similar meanings end up with similar number arrays. So, doctor and physician land close together, while doctor and banana land far apart. The position in this number space is the meaning. Let's make this concrete with real code. We'll use the sentence transformers library in Python. It's free, open source, and runs locally. We load a small model, pass it a sentence, and get back a vector. Notice the output. It's a NumPy array with 384 numbers. That array is now a coordinate in a 384 dimensional space. We didn't write any rules about what doctor means. The model learned all of that from training on huge amounts of text. Now we have vectors. But how do we measure if two of them are close? The most common answer is cosine similarity. Instead of measuring straight line distance, it measures the angle between two vectors. If two vectors point in the same direction, the angle is 0 and the similarity is 1. If they point in completely different directions, the similarity drops towards 0. We care about direction, not magnitude, because direction is what captures the meaning. Let's compute it on our embeddings. At this point, you might think, easy. I'll store all my vectors in a list and just loop through them, computing similarity for each one. And honestly, for a few thousand vectors, that works fine. This is called a brute force or exact search. The problem shows up at scale. If you have 10 million documents and each query has to compare against all 10 million vectors, every single search becomes painfully slow. Now imagine thousands of users querying at once. Brute force collapses. We need something smarter. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. You might expect classic database indexes like B trees to speed up vector search the same way they speed up number lookups. They don't. The reason is something called the curse of dimensionality. In 2 or 3 dimensions, you can split space into neat regions, but in hundreds of dimensions, the geometry breaks down. Almost every point ends up roughly the same distance from every other point. Traditional spatial indexes become useless. This is exactly why a brand new type of index had to be invented. The breakthrough idea is to give up on perfection. Instead of finding the exact closest vectors every time, we find vectors that are almost certainly the closest. Really fast. This is called Approximate Nearest Neighbor Search, or ANN. We trade a tiny bit of accuracy for an enormous gain in speed. In practice, you might find 99% of the truly best results, but 100 times faster. For search and recommendations, nobody notices the missing 1%. But everybody notices the speed. This trade-off is the heart of every vector database. The most popular algorithm for this is HNSW. Hierarchical Navigable Small World Graphs. Picture it like a road network with express highways on top and local streets below. When you search, you start on the top layer with long jumps to get roughly into the right area, then drop down to finer and finer layers to zero in on the closest neighbors. It's a bit like finding a house by first taking the national highway, then the city road, then the local lane. Each layer narrows the search dramatically, which is why HNSW is so fast. Let's actually build a tiny vector store. We'll use ChromaDB, a popular open source vector database that runs locally with one pip install. We create a collection, add a few documents with their embeddings, and Chroma handles the indexing for us behind the scenes. Notice we don't have to write any similarity math here. We just add documents, and the database takes care of storing and indexing the vectors. This is the whole appeal. The hard parts are abstracted away. Now the payoff. We query the collection with a brand new sentence that shares no words with our stored documents. A sick man saw the medic. Watch what happens. The database returns the two medical documents first, even though they don't contain those exact words, and the banana document last. We searched by meaning, not by keywords. That's the entire promise of a vector database delivered in a few lines of code. Real applications need more than pure similarity. You often want to filter only search documents from a certain user, or a certain date range, or a certain category. Vector databases support this with metadata. You attach key value tags to each vector, then combine a similarity search with a metadata filter. This is called hybrid filtering, and it's where vector databases start feeling like real databases, not just math toys. Here we restrict our search to documents tagged as the cardiology department. So where does all this actually show up? The biggest use case right now is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. When you ask a chatbot a question about your own documents, the system embeds your question, searches a vector database for the most relevant chunks, and feeds those chunks to the language model as context. But it's not just chatbots. Spotify uses vector similarity for song recommendations. E-commerce sites use it for similar products. Even image and face search runs on the exact same idea. ChromaDB is great for learning and prototyping, but in production, teams reach for more. Pinecone and VV8 are popular managed services. You don't run any servers, you just call an API. Postgres users can add the PG vector extension and keep everything in one familiar database. And Qdrant and Milvus are powerful open source options. You can self-host at scale. The right choice depends on your volume, your budget, and whether you want to manage infrastructure yourself. Here's a take you won't hear often enough. You might not need a vector database at all. If you only have a few thousand documents, a simple in-memory brute force search using NumPy is faster to build and perfectly fast to run. If your users search by exact keywords, a full-text index in Postgres or Elasticsearch may serve them better. Reach for a vector database when you have semantic search needs and real scale. Don't add infrastructure just because it's trendy. One last nuance for the intermediate folks. Remember ANN trades accuracy for speed? Most vector databases let you tune that trade-off with parameters. In HNSW, a setting called EEF controls how thoroughly the graph is explored at query time. A higher EF means more accurate results but slower queries. A lower EF means lightning speed, but you might miss some true neighbors. Knowing how to tune this is what separates someone who just uses a vector DB from someone who actually understands it. Let's zoom out and see the full picture. Your raw data, documents, images, audio gets passed through an embedding model to become vectors. Those vectors get stored and indexed in a vector database, usually with HNSW. At query time, your question is embedded the same way. The database finds the nearest vectors using approximate search and returns the original data behind them. That entire loop is what powers semantic search and modern AI retrieval. Every piece we build today fits into this one diagram. And that's the complete mental model of a vector database, built from the ground up. You now understand the problem they solve, the algorithms inside them, and how to use one in real code. This is the foundation for everything we'll build next in the AI track. So here are the 3 things to take away. 1. A vector database stores meaning as numbers called embeddings, so you can search by similarity instead of exact words. 2. It relies on approximate nearest neighbor algorithms like HNSW to stay fast at massive scale, trading a sliver of accuracy for huge speed. 3. Reach for one when you have real semantic search at scale. Not just because it's popular. Next up in the AI track, we build a complete RAG pipeline using everything you learned today. So hit subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop a comment with your biggest question about vector search. We turn the best ones into full videos.